Today we're going to talk about the strategic case for outsourcing, when CFO should consider it. So welcome to this three-part series on outsourcing, because we know that outsourcing is a very strategic and operational decision. My name is Hindol Datta. You're familiar with some of my videos that I've already posted on YouTube channel and eFuture CFO. And I've navigated several outsourcing decisions, some good, some not as good, and some very nuanced. So today we are moving beyond this simplistic cost savings narrative. We're not going to talk about that. Outsourcing is fundamentally about organizational design. It's about capability. It's about architecture. It's about strategic focus. So let's explore when a CFO should seriously consider outsourcing as a lever for competitive advantage. So again, this is a three-part series to this. So please go through all of this. It'll help you. First, let's establish what we mean by strategic outsourcing. This is not about cutting cost. That's a tactical outcome. Strategic outsourcing is about answering a fundamental question. What must we be world-class at to win in our market? And what can we source more effectively from specialists? Think of it through a system lens. Every organization has finite cognitive bandwidth. Every organization has a certain amount of management attention span and capital. When you choose to build an internal capability, you're making a massive investment, not just in dollars, but in organizational energy. You are committing to recruiting, training, developing processes, maintaining technology, and continuously improving that function. And so the strategic question is simple. Does this capability create differentiation? Does it generate competitive advantage? Or is it necessary but commoditized? I've seen companies spend millions building internal capabilities that their competitors simply purchase better and cheaper. And I've also seen companies outsource their core competencies and hollow out their competitive moat. And what's the difference? The strategic clarity is about what drives value. The 4 conditions for strategic outsourcing, from my experience, there are 4 primary conditions where outsourcing becomes strategically smart. First, there is the non-core necessary functions. These are activities that are essential to operations but not differentiating. A simple example is payroll processing. That's a classic example. Unless you're ADP, payroll does not win you customers. Yet building a world-class payroll operation requires significant investment. At one company, we were running payroll across 6 countries with 3 different systems. We had 4 FTEs just managing payroll, another 2 handling tax compliance. The cognitive load on the finance team was enormous. We outsourced to a specialist, freed up 6 people for strategic finance work. We reduced the errors by 80% and actually saved money. It was a clear win. Second, there's the aspect of spiky demand or project-based needs. If you need a capability intermittently, building permanent capacity just creates waste. And now I'm thinking of ERP implementations. I'm thinking about merger integrations. I'm talking about specialized compliance work. At a cybersecurity company, we had a major ERP implementation. We were building an internal team for a 12-month project, which meant hiring people we would have to lay off afterward or retaining them without full utilization. So what did we do? We partnered with implementation specialists. We got better results. We ended up getting the job done faster, and there was no organizational disruption per se post-project. The third, of course, is the access to superior capabilities of scale economics. Sometimes specialists simply do things better because it's their only focus. Cloud infrastructure is the obvious example. Unless you're massive, you cannot match AWS's scale, economics, or even for that matter, the innovation pace that they're doing. What is less obvious is that specialized recruiting, certain types of legal work, niche technical capabilities at a digital marketing company, we outsourced our server infrastructure and DevOps. Our DevOps team, our development team, focused only on product differentiation while we gained enterprise-grade infrastructure at a fraction of the cost of building it. There's a 4th element as well, which is around capital efficiency and balance sheet optimization. This is where CFOs get particularly interested. Outsourcing can convert fixed costs to variable. They can improve working capital and they can free up capital for core investments. Now, I have seen that in manufacturing. I've seen companies outsource entire production lines for low volume products, entire production lines. Instead of buying equipment that sits idle 60% of the time, they paid for capacity as needed, preserving capital for product development and preserving the capital for market expansion. So there is this systems thinking framework that we need to kind of embrace. And this is where we apply systems thinking when we make such decisions. Because outsourcing decisions, they create feedback loops and second order effects that many CFOs miss. Let's walk through an example. When you outsource, you're creating an interface, right? You're creating a boundary between your organization and external system. And that interface has friction, coordination costs, and communication overhead. And if the work is highly interdependent with other functions, outsourcing can actually increase the total system cost while reducing line item expenses. So I use a simple test. Can this function operate with clean interfaces and clear service level agreements? If yes, outsourcing potential is very high. If the work requires constant collaboration, tacit knowledge sharing, and rapid iteration with other teams, try to keep it internal. Also consider the learning loops here. When you outsource, you often outsource learning. If the capability might become strategic in the future, outsourcing can leave you unable to build it when needed. At one SaaS company, we outsourced customer support too, and we did so aggressively. We saved money, yes, but we lost the voice of the customer. Product development suffered because we weren't hearing the pain points directly. We eventually bought a tier 2 support back in-house to restore that feedback loop. So what is the decision framework for the CFOs? When should you consider outsourcing? You heard a lot of stuff right now, but you have to ask 3 questions. 1, is this capability differentiating or is it a commodity? 2, do we have or can we attract world-class talent for this function? 3, does outsourcing improve our capital efficiency materially? And 4, can we define clean interfaces and measure outcomes clearly? There's also the 5th dimension. What organizational learning do we lose, and does it even matter? And if you can answer these questions clearly, you are ready for operational analysis. And this is something that we'll cover in the next video. We will dive into more of the operational considerations, how to structure outsourcing relationships, how to manage the vendors, and how to avoid the common pitfalls that turn strategic wins into operational nightmares. So thanks for watching. I'm Hindol, and we'll catch up in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.